Alright, the TCP stuff works so far. Now let's take care of the HTTP stuff and the web server. And let me just comment this in again. Alright, that should do the trick. And now we need to open this, and currently this is not the things we wanted. So first let me just bring in some some style. I do not care about explaining this because first of all you can style your application whatever the hell you want, and second I'm not a designer, so this is just really quick, basic and dirty. Yeah, so let's just minimize it so we can forget about it. Now the next thing I need to do is let us just quickly create the HTML for this. So I need a body, would be nice. So and then just it's called chat history. There goes all our history, and then of course a input for the message ID, message size 50 to make it a little bit bigger. Now I show you how I actually write front-end modules. What I do is write a function here, call it create chatty, and then I say this, because we are now on the front end again and we are using jQuery here. Actually we need jQuery, so let me just quickly get this. So I'm on the jQuery page and I open up the production folder, the production thing, because we just need the minimized version, and then I save this. And then just let me just copy the name and include it. Now I'm not going to put this into an extra folder, just include it right here. And yeah, so now as I said, we are going to create a function here, but when I start like this here and say chatty this, and then do my module stuff, and then later on just return it, this is not actually a function. This is a function which gets executed immediately, and when it gets executed immediately, create chatty will actually contain this chatty module here, or this chatty object. So you're not really creating a function, and I want to change it. I want to have a function. The only reason why I wrap this so is that I can use the dollar sign and be sure that it's jQuery. So just what you need to do is you just create a function, and now you have ensured that inside of this all of your code can access the dollar variable and be sure it is jQuery and still have this as a function. So the next thing is need some sort of init. So just function host, because we need to, as you see over here, we need to connect to something, and I need a socket for this. Of course, I need a connection to the server. So I say, well, server. I create this outside of the actual object because I don't want the user of this module to have any contact with the server connection. So I say server is IO connect, and it's either what is in host, or it's location where we are. So, but now what we also need to do is we need to make sure when I call this, let me just call it right now. Chatty is window create chatty. When I call this and I give him a parameter, I want to hand it over to this function. And what I simply do here is I'm in this function here, and I just say chatty init apply this arguments, because now the function, the init function, will be called with the parameter and the context of the outside function, which will be create chatty. So now I can just hand all the arguments which are passed here directly into this init function. Alright, so still not done in the init function because we need some stuff. First of all, we need to wait for messages, of course, and just say message. So, and then let me just write this here on client message, because we will actually events, then just function data. Alright. And then I want to have a on text box key up event handler. We need to make use because so here we are attaching a event handler to the text box. And I bet you can already guess what we are going to do, because little mistake. So alright, and then I want to focus. So what happens here is as soon as I create the chatty, I call the init function, and I do this when the DOM is ready. So this is a shorthand for document ready if you're from jQuery, but didn't notice. And then I just attach the event handler and also attach this handler for messages from the server. Alright, let us first do what happens if we receive a message. We do this here. So let me first check whether the message is not just something made out entirely of spaces. So I just go over here, say if jQuery trim which trims strings, so message trim length is 0, we just return. And if it actually contains something we want to write, we create a new message. Now it's not that simple, because first of all I want to, let me just explain. When we look here, the messages are div containers itself, so I need a way of creating a simple message a container out of a simple message. So let me just create DOM over here, append message. And this just takes a simple message string, because we do not have any user authentication or something. We just have messages which get passed, and you can all the other stuff add later on. So first thing I want here is I want the history container. So this is yes chat history is, and then I want to create a message. Let's just for now say it's this. Then I want to append this message. So message, just append the message. We could also some nice effect, say fade in, and then as you might have remember, as you might do remember, the messages have been marked, one as gray, one as white, and stuff like that. And you do this simply with jQuery. You just history, after the message has appended, you just say history find, what was it again? Um, you just say client message. Don't worry, we will later on. This will clarify later on. So you just say add class even. And this is a class that actually exists in our styling. So here it is. So this is for the gray background. And then we need something which is, let me just quickly create it. As you might have seen, it always scrolled down the entire container, and you do this by, let me just quickly create a new object for that. So, and let's call the function scroll history down. And what you do there is you, once again, you receive the history, and there you just say for a little nice scrolling effect, say animate scroll to top, and there's a get 0, so you get the native DOM object of the chat history container. Usually when you get any DOM elements with jQuery like that, you receive a collection. Even if you only find one element, you always have a collection, and not necessarily a connection of the native stuff, but jQuery wraps a lot of stuff around those objects, and with get or with like this, you can receive the native element. And the native element here is important because we need the scroll height, and that's all. And that's how you scroll down. So then I want to, after all this happened, I want to scroll down, of course. So scroll history down. Then I want to return the message just for, maybe you want to do something after it. Now I need something which creates a message in a container. So I create another object here, which I call fuse. So, and there we just create a message function, the message, which is still the raw message. So we now can call this actually chatty fuse message, and because we want this little nifty fade in effect, we first hide it so we can later fade it in. And there what we do is we quickly return a new div container, add the class down here, and just say HTML is the message. And as you might remember, when you clicked a message, the message got bigger, and when you hovered out of the message, it got smaller again. So what we need to do is here we need to append hover, and this is for when you hover in, and this is for when you hover out. So when you hover out, you want to stop all current animations and then begin a new animation, and then just say font size is 11 pixel. And then of course you need something for clicking, so when the click happens, you just add, say, 40 pixels. This works because of the magic of jQuery, as it is often defined. The magic of jQuery is simple. It's some sort of chaining. So as you can see here, I create an element and say add class, and this add class, this function, will return the initial element I've created over here. This also works with with elements you receive over some selectors, so it does not only work with new elements you create. And then I just say HTML and tell him what I want him to be, his inner HTML, and this also returns the container, and then I just attach the hover events, and this also returns. And this is and because this works like that, you can easily just chain all this stuff together and do not have to create new lines for each of those function calls. Now we have the message, and now we need to go down here, just say chatty dom append message. The message is in data message, and that's it. Now let's just quickly test. For this we create our server again. The socket IO is here. Actually, that might be a mistake because, yes, I only want one. So, alright. Reload. We're connected. It sent us this, and it already appended it, so this already tells us it's working, but let's for the first time see our chatting stuff in action. So, someone connected. What's up? Hi there. OMG, it works. So good. So awesome. One thing I notice here is that the gray stuff doesn't work. So the mistake is that I did it with this. I need to just tell it its name. You're not selecting anything here. You're just appending a class. So this won't work. And now I do not have to restart this. Let me just quickly get it back. I do not have to restart the server because I only changed some client code and the server is still working. And we did not change any server code, so just do this. Hi, transfer, and there you already see it works. Let me just bring up the client again. Hi there. What's going on? Perfect. Now the great final, all we need to do now is we need to make this front end able to send messages to the server, and then we're done. We're fully done. Let's just we already attached the event handler. Let me just delete this stuff here. And now I need to go down here. And let me just get the value out of the text box. So this is the text box in this case. And val for the value. And then you just say if the value is bigger than 0, so if there's actually something in, just go here, storm chatty append message, the value, and now you see the reason because for returning the message, because now all I need to do is I need to, because as you might know, as you might remember, the messages I sent were marked a little bit different, and this is done with this class own message here. So you now can just append this class. And one thing we need now is the actual sending of the message to the server. So for this let me just make this stuff small. So for this we create a new object and say server send message, the raw message as a string, And then we just say socket emit because we're here on socket IO and say message. And the actual data is message msg. And then I just say chatty server send message the value. And then I just clear the text box. So val empty. And one thing I forgot is that currently this would say each time I press a key, whether it's an alphanumeric key or not, each time I press a key, this would send a message, and this is something I do not want. So what I actually want is little trick on little trick. I don't want this to be called on textbox key up. I want this to be called on textbox enter. And let me just start it here for a minute. What I want to do now is I only want to call this when actually an enter has happened, but jQuery does not have any event handlers for that. You only have key up. But that's not a problem, because all you need to do is you just say e. That stands for the key up event that just happened, and it contains a key code, which is a numeric key code for the key you just pressed. And if it is 13, you know it's the enter key. And then you just call this textbox event like you would call it, like it would be called directly from this key up event. So you do this like that. Just say chatty events on textbox enter apply this arguments. And now this event handler gets called just like it would have been called if I directly put this in here, but it only gets called if I actually press the enter key. Let me just delete this here, and let me just start everything all over. So we will let's test with 2 clients. So first start a server, connect. I really need to get this out and connect with this client here. How is it going? Oh, I made a mistake. Of course, this is not called socket, it's called server. I'm sorry. But no big problem, because I can just reload. Because the server is still running, I just need to bring up the 2 clients again. Connect with, so this client was already connected, this client just connected. Hi, you TCP guys. And there you see it. They received it, and I can say here, hi HTML dude, or hi Frontend dude. And that's it. Right, as soon as you've done all this, you might want to add some sort of user authentication. Now I won't show you how to do this in its entirety, but I will show you where to start. The first thing is we need another node module called Q, which is simply a node module for deferreds. Now, if you don't know what deferreds are, go check out some articles on the internet. In my opinion, you cannot be a good JavaScript developer if you haven't fully understand the concept of deferreds. So go check out what deferreds are and make your life suck less. So actually, all this works pretty simple, and it does work pretty simple because we've written such a good code. All I need to do is I need to include this here, and then create a deferred with Q. I do this with defer, and you see, you can now just say, no, I don't want to add you to the manager just because you connected. There has to be some things met first before you actually can talk to the other guys, and this is pretty easy done. You can just now on message function data, and there you wait for data message, trim it, and wait for, let's say, guest123 user password, very safe. And as soon as this is done, say dfd resolve. And this is what deferreds are. So at some point, you don't know when exactly, but at some point this deferred gets resolved, and when this happens, you know, okay, the user has logged in with valid permissions, so add him to the manager. Actually, we could just copy this over here. Just add him to the manager now and let him broadcast his stuff, and also send the other clients a message that someone logged in actually. So mgr add the client, that should do it. Alright, let's test this. Start up the server and connect a client and another client. As you see, they can write what they want. They will not see it. And when I now write guest123, and I write here also guest123, both are logged in. So now I can actually chat. Test. Hi there. Hi, you sexy logged in guy. And that's it.